Hello, Sagittarius. Thank you so much, as always, you guys, for being here, and a very, very happy birthday to all of you. Okay, Sag, so looking at your first week of December, you pulled Transmission, Shadow Self, and Fated to Suffer. This one was interesting. So, first of all, Transmission. This is talking about having someone to travel with you on the journey you are undertaking. It talks about friendship and sharing of the experience, spreading of the condition, right? It also talks about how you may be feeling guilty for somebody wanting to come with you. And this is like not denying somebody to share in the experience of life with you. But if we're talking about this being the focus, the shadow self may be preventing you from having that kind of connection where you feel like you are with someone. You're not alone, right? You're with someone on this journey. And there's the sharing of the experience. This is so much deeper than just wanting to be in a relationship. This is, I would like to have a connection with somebody where life experiences are shared together. But the shadow self, and then you have fated to suffer in the shadow. So the shadow self says, we deem our shadow self a weakness and strive to keep it hidden from the outside world. This act of repression, however, only succeeds in wasting precious energy and empowering negativity. Over a lifetime, these patterns can become rigid, blinding us to the fact that we carry and project them to the world. We only know our lives or relationships are not working, and we feel separate, divided, and imprisoned by our reactions, instead of empowered by our wise actions. And then it says, the appearance of this card presents you with a powerful opportunity to see how your shadow self could be preventing you from finding peace. And that peace for you is coming from a place of, this need to have this connection where there's this shared experience in life. Fated to suffer. It says, feeling confined into a script, forced by other, and never really fought, heading toward a destination of pain. It says, if you know the future, you forsake your choices. Only with no fate, life is free to unfold into unknown shores. So with that being said, it feels like, sorry guys, what is going on in the shadow is this idea of this kind of like scripted reality that happens within relationships. It's like, you're looking for some more depth, something different. But if you're not finding it, then, the shadow starts to become more prevalent, where it's kind of pushing this idea of, it's just not there. I'm fated to have to experience things on my own, that, I can't find that person that will experience things the same way that I do, or even share in an experience. But this is for those of you who are wanting to share something with someone, but because of these kind of like accepted roles that we have put into place with relationships, it's like it's hard to find. It feels like it's hard to find. But there may be someone, because of transmission, and it talking about don't deny somebody the opportunity to share in your experience, right? There may be somebody who's there that you aren't seeing because the shadow is constantly projecting this idea of, it's just not going to happen, right? But needing to do this shadow work on how you are suffering. And that may be where this kind of like connection will come through. So for those of you who, have felt the depth of suffering, that may be where there is this kind of connection with transmission, where there is this understanding. But it may open the door to different experiences. But it all starts with facing that part of your shadow that is saying to you and projecting outward, that, what you are wishing to experience with another just is not going to happen, right? That's because of what you've been through, though. But those are the things that have to be worked through, before there's a different type of experience with others, the different spreading of conditions, right? Your overall, the Six of Pentacles. So equal give and take. In needing for things to be balanced out. So there is immediately for me a feeling off of this is I am willing to give, but I have to see the same in return. In the past, the devil, again, right, the negative patterns that kind of like take hold that we find comfort in. Those habitual patterns. Now, for a lot of you, when you are looking at situations where there is equal give and take, you may see that as it has always been in the past a very negative thing. But again, the devil is the reminder that it is something that we continuously choose over and over again. And that may be why the shadow is coming up. So you can heal that part of yourself and see that kind of pattern that's playing out and why, right? But this is looking at past situations negatively where there hasn't been this equal give and take. But this is what you're focused on now. We're wanting to break that pattern. I don't know what is going on today, I'm telling you. Temperance in the present moment. It seems like all of the signs that I've been reading for here recently, their own card has been showing up in their readings. That seems to be the theme. So you have you and you have Capricorn, right? But temperance, being in the present moment, you being in this place of finding the moderation and no longer being addicted to certain types of patterns and behaviors or beliefs or whatever it may be with the devil. You just see it as a negative and you know that that's what it is and that it creates this negativity. But it very specifically has to do with this equal give and take. In the present moment here, you're pulling on your own power to find inner peace. This is the nice flow and balance between your thoughts and your actions. And it's moderation. But finding patience in the present moment where you may be looking for an equal return but not exactly seeing it. Future conditions, the Eight of Pentacles. Man, I'm telling you, Sagittarius, it makes so much sense, right? Like, here are these negative patterns that are happening in my life. I just want some equal give and take. That's what I'm focused on right now. In the meantime, I'm just going to be patiently waiting and creating this inner peace and harmony. And then as soon as you see that receptive type of energy, you are all about it and you start putting in the effort. It's like, yep, I'm all here. I'm all for it. I'm willing to put in as much work necessary. Because there's an understanding of where you have been, right? This is like really putting in the effort here. And it's like, if you give me the same, I will give it right back to you and I'm willing to do more. And this may be, what you have been waiting for out of all of the negativity that you've been dealing with and seeing. No matter where that is happening in your life. Again, when the devil shows up, it's not a specific person or situation. You just see it as it's negative, right? Your best path to follow, the Magician. I love it. I love it. Think big, right? But this is also using what is available to you to manifest the things that you want. Do you know that you have the tools necessary? You have the ability to bring this to life in such a way where it ignites a part of you where you're all about putting in the effort. But again, it's only based on this equal return. And I really think that, again, with the shadow self showing up, you're breaking some really negative patterns that you've been going through in the past. Okay. Yep. Wow, man. In your environment, the Lovers. So, and I'm looking at this flow that is happening within you, your alchemist moment. And you have the Lovers in your environment, and going back to transmission. We're no longer choosing what has been tempting, because what has it been giving you? With the Devil, not enough. Not anything equal. And you move into this place with the Lovers where there is this perfect union that is happening. Now, for some of you, your patience and perseverance, I feel like, is going to pay off in a really big way, where you're going to manifest something completely different than what you have been experiencing before. If this is about relationships and the negativity that you have experienced, this is a whole new chapter that's going on here. But it starts from within you. And again, the whole shadow work and how important that is. The hardest thing that we can ever do is to face ourselves. But when you can do that and you realize the patterns that have been put in place have been based on past experiences, for you it almost seems effortless to make that kind of inner change that's necessary. But it's like your patience pays off in this perfect union. Some of you may be finding your perfect connection, where that was a pattern that you haven't seen. For others of you, this is really about you, choosing love for yourself, love for life, love for, what you're willing to put your effort into. For some of you, this is a really strong reconnection that is going to be happening within a relationship where there may have been a lot of negativity in the past. But I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at you in this perfect union that is finally happening. You know what it reminds me of? So, my favorite movies, one of them has to be Silent Hill, and I love the video games. I'm a gamer. I'm a junkie. But in Silent Hill 2, as shitty as that movie was, there's a part on the carousel where Alessa and her happier version of herself become one again. So it's like the light and the dark becoming one. And it's creating this beautiful type of harmony that is happening. But here, this is where immediately the effort starts to come through, and what you manifest here is going to be brought back to you in equal return. It's beautiful. I love it. And I love how deep this is going. What the? Your hopes and your fears, the moon, right? It makes sense. So, speaking of the shadows and what is being projected outward with the moon, right? These are the lingering fears that I think for some of you are going to start to be popping up, where there's this fear of disillusionment, right? Now, this is also hoping for any kind of confusion to be cleared up. I want to know how I feel. I want to know how the other person feels. I don't want to be guessing. And that's as far as relationships. For others of you, this is really, hoping to get into the depth of what is going on. Again, the hardest thing we could ever do is face ourselves, right? But it's all about breaking that negative pattern with the Devil. Some of you may have been finding it very hard to find the patience within a very, significant relationship. But there's the reminder there that the effort put through to manifest something different is entirely in your own hands. Now, It's so huge. It's so huge. The moon, though, as far as fears is, I don't want to be led down the same path that I have been before. But you're fully aware of this, but you're also, I think, fully aware of what is lurking within your own shadow. And this is no longer wanting it to, dictate outside circumstances and what you do end up creating. So there needs to be that kind of like awareness of what is going on within you that, can create this kind of negativity, right? That suffering, that unnecessary suffering. Oh my God. What the hell is going on? Coming out the tower, jeez. I like it because the feeling I'm immediately getting from this is it's not so much about something shocking happening to you. You're making this happen. You're creating this kind of like destruction and change. Because again, with the tower, right, it's the false foundation. You can't keep building on this. And it always reminds me of Sadhguru, right? If you know that you have a faulty foundation, you don't want to build too high. But here, things have gotten to the point where they need to collapse, and you know this, and you may be making some really drastic changes here because you are the one manifesting this. You are the one that's putting in the effort to create this, and you're willing to get rid of all of these negative things that keep getting pulled into your experience that affect how relationships go for you, or even with yourself. But what I love about this, Sag, is that the minute that you see some feedback, you're all about it and then some. And it's because of that effort that there's this total collapse of all the bullshit. Wow, man. Okay, the Seven of Pentacles. And, I love the feeling that I'm getting from that lately. The Nine of Pentacles. And then the Wheel of Fortune, yeah, breaking the pattern, breaking the cycle, right? And better circumstances that are going to be happening here. The Seven of Pentacles and the Devil, we're talking about reevaluating and understanding that what you are getting is not good. It's not healthy. It's an addictive, repetitive pattern that leaves you wanting for more is what I feel like here. But reevaluating things in such a way where there has to be this drastic change. The Nine of Pentacles, Temperance, and the Lovers, this is you being independent, doing things on your own. You have your own security and stability. But we're no longer attached to situations that are not giving you that kind of equal return. And, that's where this kind of like holding back and reserving yourself is coming in. But with the Lovers here, right, this is also understanding that something outside of you is not going to create the kind of inner peace that you can manifest for yourself. A better union with yourself in order to have better unions with others. Now, this could also, though, be you reevaluating what has been going on in your outer world, where it's been preventing you from enjoying life. And again, right, like there's this want to kind of experience that with another. It's interesting because when we get older, when we start to look at relationships, when we're talking about the script with Fated to Suffer, right? And the way that we've kind of like set down the roles that people play within relationships. When you start to get older, it's like, I don't care about that bullshit. Come sit with me. Let's watch this movie together. Hey, let's go out for some coffee, or let's go get something to eat this morning. Let's talk about the things that we're interested in. It's genuine fulfilling connection that becomes more important because the superficial has gotten you nowhere, right? And I think that that's something that we all experience. But with the Wheel of Fortune, the effort that you put in is to break this kind of pattern. This is, you see yourself within the cycle, but you're seeing an opportunity here for better things to start happening. The pendulum is swinging now. But we don't want to stay in that kind of pattern where it's going to fall and rotate back to where it was before with this negativity and the devil. And that is the Tower. We're wiping it out. We're done with that kind of cycle, that repetitive pattern, no more. And this is the opportunity for that to be broken. Wow, man. But reevaluating how you have been experiencing what is going on in your outer world and wanting to have that kind of enjoyment, and it's creating a completely different cycle for you. But I love that it's the Tower. It's sudden, it's drastic, it's boom. And I love this feeling from you coming in where you're like, I'm actually getting something back. It is worth my full attention, my full effort. Confidence. Mystery, the Moon. And then love. Beautiful. So having confidence within yourself to navigate through situations that may not feel clear. That's where mystery kind of comes through. And then this is also, kind of getting involved in this whole mystery of love, how love affects us, that vibration, how it changes things, right? It almost has this feeling of like feeling the magic and the mystery in those emotions again. But for you, having the confidence to be able to face yourself and probably the worst parts of yourself that have been preventing you from having, these perfect unions, these better experiences. But I love mystery because it's like, it opens the door for you to have a completely different experience where, you're kind of searching out those things that have been hidden. And for some of you, it may be that, this feeling of love has been suppressed for a little bit too. Oh, okay. I'm telling you, right? Like a new romantic cycle begins. And the energy is gaining momentum. Well, yeah, because it's leading to the Tower. Jeez, man. So have confidence to be able to face the worst parts of yourself that may have created negative patterns within relationships. And it doesn't matter if this is romantic or not. For some of you, absolutely, it's going to be. But patience and perseverance is what is going to pay off, and persistence. But it's not wasted effort when you become aware of your responsibility and the tools that you have been using to manifest what you want. When that realization happens, then, the change starts to come into place. But wow, man, this is such a powerful reading. Don't allow those kind of thoughts to repeat in your mind that you're fated to experience the same suffering over and over again, because clearly that's not truth. And that may be the false foundation here, where there's going to be this drastic change happening.